The White House says federal employees who aren't complying with the vaccine mandate won't face disciplinary action until at least early next year. Those actions could mean unpaid suspensions or even getting fired. Lisa Rein is a reporter at the Washington Post. She covers federal agencies and the management of government. Lisa, welcome. How are you?
Good. Thanks so much for having me.
So there are about 122,000 employees out of compliance with the mandate. So that means they're both unvaccinated and haven't asked for an exemption. Why has the Biden administration asked agencies to wait on disciplinary action?
I should also say that the folks who have not asked for exemptions, I'm sorry, who have asked for exemptions are also not vaccinated, which is a much larger number that's harder to get our hands around. But I think the reason is really that the unions were pressing on a delay over the holidays to further disciplinary action. And I've been told by a number of attorneys who represent federal employees in a variety of legal cases that it's not uncommon to carry out discipline around the holidays and wait until they're over to take action. I think the difference here, though, is we're talking about a public health emergency. And the Biden administration has been very clear that they take discipline very, very seriously. Discipline and even, as you said, potential firing very seriously. And this is not just one employee who was involved in misconduct of some kind. In fact, you could argue, this isn't traditional misconduct. This is really the kind of misconduct that affects other employees. And for that reason, some people have argued that, well, time is really of the essence if you're trying to ensure a safe workforce.
So this is really about, it's the holidays. Let's not try to do something over the holidays. Let's just wait till January or February.
Yeah, I think that's it. And also, though, I think that one of the sort of misunderstandings with this whole process is that even in this kind of expedited world of the vaccine mandate, it does take a long time if you're going to eventually fire someone. And the administration, understandably, has taken the approach that first they're going to counsel people who are not vaccinated. They're going to basically have their supervisors talk to them and explain the value of vaccines, and explain, how they're safe and effective and how it's really better for them to get the vaccines. I don't know that this will change many minds. It may.
That's what I was going to ask you, Lisa, is do we know if the vaccine counseling and education is actually working?
I really don't know, because I think that the counseling in theory has been going on for, a number of weeks. In fact, agencies were pretty upfront about having started this counseling process in early November. And that was basically the deadline for employees to have their second shot. And then November 22nd, which is, the deadline we just passed, was really a more, in theory, a firmer deadline. So in theory, for a few weeks, people have been getting counseling, but I don't know in the continuum we're dealing with. And I'm not sure that, that the administration or the White House really knows, how many people have signed on to getting vaccinated during that period.
So what are federal employee unions saying in response to the White House's announcement?
Well, the unions say that they actually push for this delay. And of course, the term delay has gotten actually to be quite fraught. But the unions, have sent missives to their members saying, "Oh, we really pushed for this to happen, and we're so glad that the administration decided to hold off on further discipline until January." But what's really interesting here is that the White House is not calling this a delay. In fact, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki the other day at her daily briefing, when asked this question, said, "Oh, no, this was always our plan. Discipline takes a long time. It was always going to stretch out deep into early next year, January, February. And so this is really not a delay." So the White House, I think, is very much parsing its words. My belief is that, yes, this really is a delay, but, I think, politicians Often,
They're going to spin it, right?
they're going to
Well,
spin it the way they spin it, and that's fine.
so has mandatory testing of the unvaccinated started at the agencies?
That is such a good question, and we don't really have the answer on that. So, but if the past is any guide, I think the answer is no, unless people want to do it voluntarily on their own. So, over the summer, the Biden administration had a kind of initial sort of iteration of this policy that was similar to the now controversial policy that they have issued for the private sector for businesses with over 100 employees, with this OSHA rule that has now been challenged in court and is moving its way through the federal court system. And that system for federal employees said, okay, we're not going to force you to get vaccinated, but what we're going to do is say, if you refuse, we're going to require weekly testing. So that system was by and large a failure. People have told us, and administration employees, officials have acknowledged that the testing system never got off the ground after 2 or 3 months. And I think that it was challenging for agencies to find contractors, to sign contracts. The decisions were complicated as to where the testing sites were going to be. Were they going to be on site at agencies? Were people going to have to go elsewhere? And it never got off the ground. So
All right. I
I
guess
don't
we're
have
gonna
evidence, but my gut says no, it hasn't started.
we'll have to get through the holidays and see what happens, Lisa. Thank you so much for being on the program.